"You've got to be kidding me," said Alora, her hand frozen midair holding her fork. She had just checked her phone under the table. At first, she thought it was some glitch, a $13,642 charge to her credit card that morning, but then she saw the breakdown. Department stores, toy chains, online gift shops. All the presents. Every single one of them. "Who did this?" she asked quietly, her voice cutting through the background noise of crinkling wrapping paper and half-hearted Christmas carols on the speaker. Darren, her father, looked up from his wine glass too casually, like she'd just asked if the turkey was dry. "We voted," he said with a straight face. "You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do." Alora blinked. "What?" "Well," he went on, like he was explaining weather patterns, "you don't have kids. The rest of us do. So we thought it was only fair you cover the gifts this year for the little ones." Alora stared at him, then at Pamela, her mum, who quickly looked down at her plate. Kylie, her sister, kept sipping her wine while her twins tore open Lego boxes Alora apparently paid for. Her cousin Stuart gave her a sheepish shrug, like he knew it was wrong but wasn't about to stand up for her. "You used my card without asking," Alora said. "You just decided I'd pay for everything because I'm single?" "You always say you don't mind helping," Pamela muttered. "Helping?" Alora repeated, nearly laughing. "Helping is offering." This was backroom plotting. "Don't get so bent out of shape," Darren said with a shrug. "It's just money. You've got plenty." Alora's heart pounded so hard she could barely hear the words over the pulse in her ears. She scanned the table, 12 people, half of whom hadn't spoken to her all year unless it was to ask for a favor or a loan, and now they'd quietly agreed that she should fund their holiday like some kind of reward for being childless. "You're unbelievable," she said, standing up. "Sit down," her cousin snapped. "Don't ruin the mood. The kids are having a good time." "Oh, don't worry," Alora said, reaching into her pocket for her phone. "I'm not going to ruin the mood. I'm going to end the show." "What's that supposed to mean?" Darren asked, amused. Alora met his eyes. "It means you're going to love what comes next." He actually laughed like she was bluffing, like she was too spineless to finally do what she should have done years ago. He didn't laugh the next day, because the next day Alora's phone blew up. 53 missed calls. Cousins screaming. Pamela begging. Darren actually begging her to stop. But by then, she'd already hit send, and there was no turning back. You don't wake up one day and realize your family sees you as a wallet. No, it happens slowly, quietly, like a leak under the floorboards. You only notice the rot when the whole thing caves in. It started years ago after university. Alora got a job in tech, nothing insane, just steady work, health insurance, and a paycheck that didn't bounce. Kylie got pregnant at 23 and moved back home. Her cousin Mitchell dropped out of grad school and started figuring things out for 7 years straight. Her parents said it was just a rough patch for everyone. And Alora? She was the one who had it together. That's what they always said. "You're doing well. You don't need much," her mum used to remind her with a soft, patronizing smile. "You're lucky. You should share that luck," her aunt once said while accepting a rent check from her for her son. At first, it was small school supplies for the kids, petrol money for someone's job interview, chipping in for a group birthday gift Alora never agreed to. But then it became constant. When her brother Tom lost his job, she paid his rent for 6 months. When her cousin Jessica wanted to launch her small business, Alora covered her Shopify fees and bought her entire first inventory batch. Jessica sold 2 items and never mentioned it again. When Uncle Greg had a health scare and no insurance, guess who footed the bill? Yep. Alora didn't complain. Not at first. She kept telling herself, this is what families do. But here's the thing. Families don't hand you the knife and thank you for the bleeding. They bled her dry, and she let them. The worst part? They acted like they were doing her a favor. You get to feel good about helping. Your name's on the group card. That's special. Don't be so uptight. We're family. No one ever said thank you. Not once. It wasn't just about money. It was time, energy, attention, emotional bandwidth. She was the default babysitter, the emergency contact, the someone needs to help person. When Alora had the flu one Christmas Eve, she texted her mom to say she couldn't make it. Pamela replied, "Okay, but can you still send the gifts? The kids are counting on you." Alora remembered sitting on her bathroom floor, wrapped in a blanket, dizzy with fever, and thinking, why do they only remember I exist when there's a bill attached to me? But the moment it truly clicked, the moment that started the chain reaction, came 3 months before that Christmas dinner. Alora had taken her niece to a bookstore and let her pick out whatever she wanted. $150 later, the girl had art supplies, hardcovers, and a giant stuffed sloth she named Slumpy. She was thrilled. Alora was happy too, until she dropped her off. "Where's Slumpy from?" Kylie asked. Alora smiled. "I let her pick it out today." Kylie frowned. "You're spoiling her. You think you're the fun, and just because you have money." Alora blinked. "What?" Honestly, Kylie scoffed. Maybe spend less on toys and more on a personality. It hit Alora so hard, she almost laughed. She had just spent her weekend with Kylie's kid, time she could have spent resting, dating, living, and instead of thanks, she got mocked, like being helpful made her pathetic. That was when the mask slipped. Not Kylie's, Alora's. She saw them for what they were, takers dressed like loved ones, experts in guilt. They never respected her. They barely liked her. She wasn't family. She was a funding source. And then came December. Christmas plans started circulating in the family group chat mid-November. Of course, Alora was expected to host again, buy for all the kids again, be Santa with a credit limit again. She was ready to say no this time. She swears she was. But then Darren texted her personally. "You're really good at this stuff. Why don't you just handle all the gifts again? We'll settle up later." Alora never got settled up for last year, or the year before. So she replied, short and cold, "Only if we agree in advance who's paying." He left her on read and then didn't reply for 3 weeks. Alora thought maybe they'd gotten the message. She was wrong, because they used her backup card instead, a card she gave Pamela years ago just in case. Pamela still had the number and apparently she'd shared it because the statement showed purchases from 5 different stores, none of which were in her area. Pamela bought nothing. They had bought everything. And when Alora brought it up at dinner, they laughed. They laughed. Darren's exact words, "We voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do." Like it was fair. Like this was democracy. Like Alora didn't have the right to say no. At that moment, she realized they really believed it. They thought she existed to ease their burden, that being child-free meant she owed a tax to the ones who had real families, that her life, her peace, her time, her finances were optional compared to theirs. And when she stood up, when she said they'd love what came next, they didn't flinch. Darren laughed because, in their eyes, she was bluffing. Always had been. Alora barely slept that night, not out of guilt. She wasn't past that part yet, but she wasn't fully there either. She was wide awake, lying in bed and replaying every insult, every unspoken expectation, every time they made her feel less than for not having what they had: kids, debt, chaos. Somehow that made them superior, noble, and her disposable. But as the sun rose and painted her ceiling pale orange, Alora felt something shift. The hesitation drained out of her like poison, and what replaced it wasn't just anger. It was clarity. They wanted to treat this like a democracy? Fine. Let's talk about democracy. So Alora opened her laptop and typed. Subject line: Holiday contribution changes. Body: effective immediately, I'm stepping away from all financial support related to our extended family. That includes Christmas gifts, birthday gifts for minors or adults, school tuition contributions, mortgage bridges, emergency Venmos, bailouts for unexpected vet bills, car repairs, or Disney Plus subscriptions. If you've already spent money using my cards, expect a chargeback. If you've saved my information or shared it without my consent, expect legal contact. You voted. I'm voting back. Merry Christmas. The childless one. And then she hit send to everyone, every name in that group chat. Her parents, Kylie, all 6 cousins, her aunt who still thinks Alora owes her for that one time she babysat her when she was 4. And then she shut off her phone. It took them exactly 7 hours and 16 minutes to break. When Alora turned her phone back on, it exploded like a grenade in her hand. 53 missed calls. Dozens of texts. Voicemails from sobbing relatives. Cousins threatening to sue her for emotional damage. A message from Pamela that started with, "I'm heartbroken," and ended with, "This is beyond disappointing." And Darren called her 12 times. His last voicemail was just one sentence. "Please, for the love of God, don't do this." But it was already done. Because by the time they realized what Alora meant by chargeback, she'd already spoken to her bank. The fraud claim had been approved. Over $13,600 in unauthorized spending was now flagged. Those Barbie dream houses and Nerf sniper rifles? On hold. The Christmas iPads and Xbox? Returned. And the cherry on top? She froze the emergency card. So when Jessica tried to use it for a hotel reservation later that night, declined. Twice. The fallout was nuclear. The next day, Alora got a call from her uncle, one of the few who never asked her for money, but also never said anything when the rest of them did. His voice was low and ashamed. "Your mom's in tears. She says you ruined Christmas." Alora didn't flinch. "No," she said. "They ruined it when they made it a transaction. They were just overwhelmed." "No," Alora cut in. "They were entitled. There's a difference." He was quiet. "Then, you really charging them all back?" "I already did," he sighed. "Well, I can't say they didn't have it coming." Then he hung up. That was the last civil message Alora got for days. The real showdown came 3 days later. She came home from work to find them waiting on her porch, Pamela, Darren, and Kylie with her arms crossed and face twisted like she was chewing battery acid. "Can we talk?" Pamela asked, her voice already shaking. Alora opened the door. "Say what you came to say." "We didn't mean for it to happen like that," Pamela said quickly. "We just thought." "What?" "That I'd shut up and foot the bill again? That I'd smile and say, 'Sure, rob me blind, but let's do it with eggnog.'" Darren tried to step in. "Look, let's not turn this into some kind of war. We're family." Alora laughed loudly. "You declared war the second you used my card without asking and called it voting. That didn't feel like family. It felt like betrayal." Kylie rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, are you still on about that? You're acting like we drained your entire savings. I paid for your car last summer." Alora shouted. "Because you couldn't commute with a cracked windshield. You said you'd pay me back." Kylie snorted. "You make 6 figures. You'll survive." "And that right there," Alora said, stepping closer, "is why this ends now. You all treat me like I'm just a wallet that occasionally shows up with a casserole." Pamela's eyes filled with tears. "We were just trying to give the kids a good Christmas. So steal from me?" Darren stepped forward. "Enough. This has gone too far. You need to fix this. Undo the chargebacks. Right now." Alora stared at him and said nothing. So Darren tried a different angle. "Think about how this looks," he said darkly. "What do you want people to say? That you betrayed your family over a few toys?" Alora didn't even blink. "No," she said. "I want people to say that I finally grew a spine." And then she said the one sentence that made Pamela gasp, Kylie scream, and Darren go completely white in the face. "I'm done with all of you. I've already blocked your numbers, and as of this weekend, I'm moving to another state. Alone." The silence was glorious. "Now get off my porch," Alora said, opening her front door. The first 48 hours after that confrontation were dead silent, And honestly, it was beautiful. No phone calls. No passive-aggressive texts. No guilt bombs disguised as family check-ins. For the first time in years, Elora could actually breathe. She sat on her floor with a cup of coffee and a Spotify playlist, realizing she wasn't carrying anyone else's weight. No one was waiting for her to pay a bill, fix a disaster, or save the day. It was peace. But Elora knew her family. They don't just let go when they lose their favorite donor. By day 3, they started crawling back in the only language they knew. Manipulation. Maybe we should talk like adults. Your mom's been sick with stress. You happy now? The kids are asking why Auntie Ghost doesn't call anymore. Elora saw the messages. She didn't reply because she knew none of them missed her. They missed what she provided. But then came something she never expected, a message from her cousin Mitchell. I screwed up. Can we talk? Elora didn't answer. An hour later, he was standing at her front door, and he looked different, not the usual half-asleep, hoodie-wearing, sarcasm-soaked version of him. He was cleaned up, hair brushed, a blazer even. A watch. He looked like he was playing the role of functional adult. I enrolled in online courses, he said. Marketing. I've started working with a friend. Trying to get it together. For real. Elora stayed silent. I was jealous of you, he said after a long pause. That's why I lashed out. You had your life. No chaos. No kids. No constant noise. And I hated that. Elora tilted her head. You here for money? No, he said quickly. I came to say I'm not your shadow anymore. For a second, Elora actually believed him. He left. 30 minutes later, she got an alert from her bank. Someone was trying to reset access to her online account. Guess who? Mitchell. He hadn't changed. He was acting. He came not to apologize, he came to see if Elora still believed their tears. Elora locked down every password, froze the backup card, alerted her bank again. That was the last time anyone from her family got near her life. And then came freedom. Elora ended her lease, accepted a job in another state, higher pay, new apartment, no relatives within a 400-kilometer radius. But the best part wasn't the job or the fresh start. It was a message from Liz, Mitchell's wife. I saw what he did. I'm filing for divorce. And thank you. You were the only one who ever actually helped. That hit Elora harder than she expected. Liz knew this whole time. She knew what was happening, but she stayed quiet until now. And suddenly Elora realized maybe her decision wasn't just for her. Maybe Elora choosing herself gave someone else the courage to do the same. Before leaving town, Elora left one last message in the family group chat. She renamed it "This bank has permanently closed. Try loving instead." Then she hit leave chat. As Elora drove away, car packed to the roof with boxes and music blasting through the windows, she smiled. She was alone, but for the first time, that wasn't punishment. It was freedom. It's funny how quiet your world gets once you cut out the people who never actually listen to you. After Elora moved states, changed her number, blocked every one of them, the silence wasn't loneliness. It was peace, raw, full-bodied, glorious peace. No more texts that said, "Can you just cover this month's rent?" No more guilt trips wrapped in fake concern. No more watching her phone light up with names that only appeared when their bills did. They were gone. And not just gone, cut off. For the first time in her adult life, Elora wasn't financially attached to anyone else's survival. And for the first time in her adult life, she was surviving on her own terms. She found a new apartment, nothing fancy, but it was hers. Her rules. Her budget. Her fridge filled only with things she liked. The first night Elora slept there, she left her phone on Do Not Disturb, not because she expected a call, but because she finally knew there wouldn't be one. And let me tell you, there's a kind of healing that happens in silence. In not having to explain yourself. In not having to defend your boundaries. In not constantly wondering, am I being too harsh? No, Elora wasn't being harsh. She was being free. They tried, of course. New numbers? Blocked. Contact voicemails? Even a burner Instagram account that messaged her with, "Come home. We're family." Enough is enough. Elora laughed. Enough is enough. That's what she said when they voted to steal from her and laughed in her face. That's what she said when her own father told her she should do more because she didn't have kids. That's what she said when Mitchell, after all that, still tried to hack into her bank account. But now it was different. Now enough wasn't a request. It was a boundary. And guess what? It's one they'd never cross again. Elora started therapy, told her therapist everything. The therapist didn't blink, just nodded and said, "You were conditioned to believe that love must be earned through sacrifice." That sentence stuck with Elora because that's what it was. They made her feel that unless she gave, she wasn't worth anything. Unless she paid, she wasn't part of the group. Unless she sacrificed something, money, time, peace, they wouldn't even pretend to love her. That's not how family should act. That was control, not care. And Elora escaped it. People ask Elora now, "Do you regret cutting them off?" No, not for a second. She regrets not doing it sooner. She regrets every birthday party she funded where she wasn't even invited. She regrets every time she canceled plans to drive across town because someone's electric bill was late. She regrets being the one who remembered every cousin's kid's birthday while they forgot hers year after year. She regrets letting them trick her into thinking she was the selfish one. No, Elora doesn't even flinch when she thinks of them. They made their choice when they decided she was useful, not loved. They voted, and now so did she. Unanimous. Cut off. But here's the twist they never saw coming. Elora's doing better than she ever did when she was their emotional and financial prisoner. She got promoted. She started traveling. She's dating someone who doesn't ask her for anything except presence and honesty. She's rediscovering hobbies she gave up years ago to chase approval. She picked up photography. She's learning to cook real food, not just takeaway eaten at her desk at midnight while paying someone else's rent. Elora adopted a dog. She named her Balance. Balance is quiet, loyal, and doesn't expect anything from Elora but love, which, honestly, is more than she can say about most of her blood relatives. And just when Elora thought the story was over, she got a text from a number she didn't recognize. It just said, "He's out. We're getting divorced. I wanted you to know." It was Liz, Mitchell's now ex-wife. She finally left him. Apparently, Mitchell's little transformation had an expiration date. Liz told Elora later that he spiraled, lost the job, got drunk, blew through whatever was left of his savings. She found out he was still trying to use Elora's old bank info, even after getting caught. "You were the only one who ever saw it clearly," Liz said. "I didn't believe you before. I do now." And that's when it really hit Elora. This wasn't just about cutting them off. It was about refusing to carry their delusion anymore. Sometimes when you walk away, you don't just save yourself, you shine a light for someone else to finally see the truth. Elora didn't lose a family. She freed herself from a scam. Hi besties, thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.